Guten Morgen, gamers. Today we're doing the ultimate guide for clocks in Minecraft. A clock, if you don't know, is anything that kind of just turns itself on and off constantly. Why it's called a clock, I have no fucking clue, but I'm sure there's a good reason. And as you can see, it's pretty much a signal going around and around, so that if you say you put something on there, or there, it'll just do that, and I'm sure that'll fucking crash my phone if I leave that long enough. Yes, I'm playing on a phone. It's mcpe because I'm a cheap cunt. But you can also do it with these things here. So if I get rid of that block, then put that one there again, it turns itself back on. If I get rid of this switch and then get rid of that block, then it should turn itself off. And if I give it a quick flick on and off, I missed it. Let's try that again. If I do that and then put a switch on there and then on and off like that. You can also do it with repeaters, but I'll be showing you all the different ways you can use clocks, or clocks are useful, or all the different types of clocks in this video. Here we are once again in another Redstone video, or whatever video I'm making at the moment, and I just wanted to draw awareness to the little button that's probably a few centimeters down from the screen you're on right now. It's red and it has the word subscribe on it, and by tapping it you're not only helping me, but you're also helping yourself, probably. And so I don't really see why you shouldn't click it, but again, it's your choice, and you can always unsubscribe if you want, so just enjoy the video. So what I've got in front of me, these two first clocks, they're the kind of the most basic clocks. One where you have 4 repeaters just in a circle, and then torches and dust in a circle. I'm pretty sure they might be as fast as each other, but I'm not sure. But the idea is, when you turn it on and off, that sends a signal around and it gets to there, but while it gets to there, these guys have turned off, so it goes around again and it gets there, but these guys are turned off, so it'll go around and around and around. So pretty much what you have is something, when you have a hard power block here, it just turns on and off and on and off and on and off until you either unload the chunks or something. As I said, you can make a clock with torches and repeaters and stuff, but you can also make them with observers. So if we have 2 observers with both, one facing that way and this one facing that way, so when I move it up, they'll be looking at each other, and that'll create a kind of, it's uneven, which is a bit annoying, but it'll create a clock because they're constantly, that one updates, which sends a signal, but that one sees the update and sends a signal, and that one sees that update and sends a signal, and so on until you unload the chunks. As I said, you can also use observers by putting a setup a bit like this, where it'll see me put the redstone down, it'll send a signal which goes over, lights it up, which will send another signal over, and so on. Another kind of clock is a burnout clock, which just includes a torch with a block on top, and then next to that block, dust, but the dust has to be on the block the torch is on. And so this will, this will create the effect, that'll turn on, then that'll power, then that'll power, and then that will turn off, and then so on. And it's really compact, really fast, but it only works for, I think, maybe 8 or 16 ticks, I'm not quite sure, but they're very useful for ender pearl stations. You can watch a video, I've made a video on how to make ender pearl station that'll give you exactly a stack of ender pearls. Yeah, just watch that, trust me, it's great. But what you can do, the weird thing with this is you don't need to put a switch or anything on it to turn it on and off. Well, you can, but it'll just, see, it burns out, it stops. What you can do is push a block next to it, and that has the same effect. It updates it for some reason. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure how frequently that it happens. But if you put one next to it and then take it away, look at that. It powers, and you know, this isn't a redstone block or anything. This isn't I don't know, it's magical, I guess. And another form of clock which is actually really useful, I've used one of these in my most recent video, the fancy lighting system. What happens is you get 2 hoppers, right? You have 1 item in one of them, no items in the other. And see this here? It'll light up when there's an item in it. So what happens when you do that, they're constantly, the items just going from back and forth, powering this on and off, and it's a lot slower than the other ones. So if I put something, say, on this one, I don't know if I do that, this one's actually too fast. It just stays up because it doesn't have time to retract because pistons are too slow. Let me use another example. If I do that, see how fast that one's going? This one goes a little slower again. And then this one, I'm not sure if this one, the hopper, it's a hopper clock by the way, goes a bit slower than this, but maybe. I'm pretty sure it does. But pretty much, yeah, you can use 2 hoppers and a comparator and 1 item in it, and they'll do that. But of course, if we do this, the signal isn't very strong. So you either get a repeater and put it on there, and that'll boost the signal, or you get an observer and that will do the signal again. But again, it'll activate when it goes on and off, so it'll pretty much double the speed of that. You can also make that a lot slower by adding more hoppers into it. So where's the item? The item is in this one. What happens is when I push this up, this hopper will give it to this one, which will give it to this one, which will give it to this one, which will activate that. And it just, instead of going back and forth between 2, it just goes around in a circle, so it's a little slower again. If we do that, it'll be on and off, on and off, on and off, which, you know, if you want different speeds in the clock, which often you do, that's very useful. And you can make it slower again, and I don't know, pretty sure you can make this as slow as you want by adding heaps of hoppers, but pretty much this is the same concept. This one will give it to this one, which will give it to that one, and it'll go around between the 6, round and around. So if I put that one in there, watch this. See how slow that is? It's a lot slower than the other ones. And the torch clock before, you can also make that vertical like this. You can have it going around and around like that. And I have used this one in an example I'm going to give you of like how they're useful. But yeah, this is just a vertical version of the first clock. I'm going to show you 2 ways clocks can be used in Minecraft. These aren't the only 2 ways. As I said in my last video, the fancy lighting system, that's another use. But just for now, here are the 2 probably main uses in survival adventure maps. So when you have a chest, you have a hopper, and you have a dropper. And pretty much this can be used for mob farms. Say a whole bunch of mobs just died and it's a creeper farm, and then you put 20 gunpowder in here. That'll activate the clock and it'll shoot it out until there's no more gunpowder. Has it stopped? There we go. So pretty much this comparator pretty much detects when there's stuff in here, so it'll go into the chest, down through the hopper into there, turn that on, which will push that up, which will create the clock that I showed you before with the two observers looking at each other, and it'll shoot it out maybe into like an ice stream with water, so like a long distance item transportation system. And yeah, except it isn't always on, which will lag out the world like all these if I forget to turn them off, which I probably will. And yeah, so that's one use. The other use is for a trap. So what we have here, pressure plates, you've got a line of redstone which pushes this block, which will break this redstone, which will deactivate this redstone and turn on the clock. This is kind of like a one use thing, so there are definitely better ways to use it. And you don't, I know the pressure plates are super obvious, you're not going to have them that obvious. You might have smooth stone here or or a tripwire, whatever you want. So say I'm walking around, I'm fucking blind, so I don't see these, and I walk over them and it shoots it out, but it hasn't shot it out of these because I forgot to put arrows in them. And pretty much now you have arrows 8 inches deep into your arsehole, and you might die if you don't, walk 2 blocks this way. Of course, if you want to make a trap, you wouldn't make it out in the open, super obvious and easy to escape. You're going to have materials that, I don't know, will prevent people from just walking away from it. But yeah, that's just another reason. And look how many arrows are in here. That's just 2 of them. And this isn't even the fastest clock. I'm pretty sure. If you want, you'd probably have a clock set to, I don't know, one of these pistons, which activates a really fast clock like this, and then it'll shoot it out even faster. I don't know, I'm just spitballing here, talking out of my arsehole. But there you have it. There's the ultimate guide to clocks and pretty much how to lag out a fucking world. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it was useful.